welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 8-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Before we get into it, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you feel like I'm providing you value, any valuable insights, some good advice to help you with your daily fantasy sports lineups, please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. I'll be here all MLB DFS season long, working hard on these videos to help you guys become better MLB DFS players, help you guys win money night in and night out. And I do offer a premium package that's linked below in the description. You get access to all the tools that I use with building my own lineups, things like my starting pitcher data sheet, high hitter Statcast data, splits leaderboard, team hitting data, bullpen data, my power rankings, and my cheat sheet. I think it's going to help you become a much more profitable MLB DFS player, so check that out. And then one other thing I wanted to address, I've had a few people tell me that these videos, they feel like I'm talking a little too fast, which I understand. I had a guy comment yesterday, and he wasn't being a jerk at all, so I'm not mad at it. Just some good advice as far as slowing down. A little bit of a explanation here. I wake up, record these videos. I try to wait till like last minute so that, for instance, I'm recording this one, we don't have all the Vegas data out and there's conflicting reports on pitchers. So I try to wait as late as I can to start recording so that I give you guys the most accurate info leading up to the slate as far as Vegas data, pitchers, all that stuff's concerned. And then I also have a lot of other stuff going on in my life as far as I work a full other job and I have other stuff going on the side. So, I do my absolute best, and I understand like the feedback that I'm talking a little too fast. So I'm going to try to slow it down for you guys, and I'm kind of rambling right now, but I just wanted to inform you that's kind of my reasoning. I want to give you guys valuable content. The later that I wait to record the video, the more accurate the data is going to be as far as weather, Vegas, starting pitchers, all of that stuff. You know, I could record it the night before, and I would just be guessing a lot of this stuff oftentimes as far as who's going to pitch and stuff, and that's just not really going to help you guys, and it's not that valuable. So that's kind of why I do it the way I do. A little bit of cramming last minute, but the reason I do it is because I want the content to be as accurate as possible and actually help you guys out. So hopefully you understand where I'm coming from there. I'm going to try to slow it down for you guys as much as I possibly can, but you know, filming, editing, it all adds up as far as a time crunch, and I do my absolute best. So apologies if I'm talking a little too quick here, but that's kind of a little bit of a background as to what I'm dealing with on a daily basis to get this stuff out to you. So with that being said, the more that you guys help me, the more that you hit the like button, the more that you comment, the more that you tweet, subscribe, hopefully the more time I'll have to produce these videos. So on the way to 800 subscribers, if we can get there soon, that would be great. And thank you to everyone that's supported so far. And with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. So as always, I like to go ahead and sort my sheet by K rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts, and the top guy on the slate today is going to be Yu Darvish. We'll break down the pitchers that we want to play on the slate today, and then we'll get into bats second. And Yu Darvish, taking on the New York Mets, comes in with a 31.1% K rate, 13.3 swinging strike rate, 36.2% K rate against righties, and a 26.6% K rate against lefties. Really, really good stuff. We do prefer to target him against right-handed heavy lineups because of how good he is in that K rate against those right-handers. And when looking at the New York Mets lineup that he's taking on today, we do know that they're a pretty well blended lineup up and down as far as righties and lefties are concerned, but there are quite a few Ks to be had in the lineup. And Yu Darvish comes in as a 187 favorite, with the New York Mets only having a 2.75 implied run total. So all of these things adding up to tell you that Yu Darvish is the top pitcher on the slate as far as that's concerned. We do have a bit of a matchup thing going on the slate, though, because Lance Lynn's second on the slate is taking on the Detroit Tigers, who's quite possibly the best matchup that you could possibly ask for. 27.4% K rate overall, a 12.2 swinging strike rate, 32.3% K rate against righties, and a 22.6% K rate against lefties. Really, really dominant against those right-handed bats. And so we do prefer to target him against very right-handed heavy lineups. However, with that being said, the Detroit Tigers are literally probably the best team that you could possibly be facing. He comes in as a 229 favorite, an even heavier favorite than Yu Darvish is, and probably has some more K upside based upon the matchup. So typically thinking, you would think that Yu Darvish is the top pitcher on the slate. He is priced up accordingly as if he is the top guy on the slate. And I would argue with the matchup and everything factored in that you're probably looking more so to Lance Lynn on this slate today. So 11K on FanDuel, over on DraftKings, he's priced at 9.7. Huge favorite. He's expected to get the win. Plenty of strikeouts to go around. Everything kind of adds up for him. In this one, for sure, the only thing that might not add up for him is it's 81 degrees with about 9-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to left center. So not the best pitching weather as far as that's concerned, but Still a good spot for Lance Lynn. Next in the spot, we got Eliza Hernandez taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's supposedly coming off the IL and could start this game. I don't know whether that's going to be the case or not, and this is, once again, I'm recording this video a little bit earlier. Don't have all the confirmation as far as this is concerned. There's a little bit of conflicting reports. It could be Hernandez. It could be Cody Poteet, which, of course, that's going to impact how much we like the Pittsburgh offense, how much the Vegas lines are impacted. So this is a perfect example of a case where I'm getting this information out to you guys a little bit early. Unfortunately, we don't know which guy it's going to be. If it is Hernandez, he should be pretty limited. He's been hurt for quite some time, 60-day injured list, so I wouldn't expect him to go out there and pitch a full amount of pitches. He just threw a rehab start in AAA, threw 55 pitches. So if he gets a start, it's not going to be a full start, and he's definitely not someone that we could be targeting on the slate today. Griffin Canning taking on the Seattle Mariners. Another great matchup as far as pitching is concerned. We talked about Detroit. Seattle's also a great matchup. Canning has a 24.7% K rate, 13.4 swing strike rate. That's actually very good. That's top on the slate. Actually tops Yu Darvish, so that stands out in a big way. 26.4% K rate against righties and a 22.8% K rate against lefties. So we do prefer to target him as far as strikeouts are concerned against a right-handed heavy lineup. However, he has also given up a lot of slugging against right-handed hitters. So a little bit of a catch-22 when it comes to him. The Mariners do have a 3.79 implied run total. That's typically a little bit higher than we would probably see out of them. But I do think that Griffin Canning has a lot of strikeout upside in this matchup, and he is a 161 favorite. 8-4 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 9-4. So you definitely do get a little bit better of a price tag on him over on FanDuel as well. And I think he's a viable option. Taijuan Walker taking on the San Diego Padres. He has been very good. However, he's taken on a Padres team that we just really don't like to target. They don't really strike out a lot. He has a 23.9% K overall, 23.1% K rate against righties, and a 25% K rate against lefties. So if you want to be bold and go against the field, I'm sure he's not going to be very popular. He's 8K on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 10-3. I would be a lot more likely to play him on FanDuel because of that pricing discount. And that's kind of where my head would be at as far as that's concerned. On DraftKings, I just think that's probably way too priced up for the matchup. These Padres are going to be a tough matchup for Walker, so probably not all too interested. Anthony Descalfani taking on the Chicago Cubs. 22.3% K overall, 23.6% K rate against righties, and a 21.1% K rate against lefties. Is a lot better against right-handed hitting. And as far as the Chicago Cubs lineup is concerned, you can see they do have quite a few lefties in there, to be honest. So it's in San Francisco, which is a good pitching environment. I always say this. I pull up the diagram for you guys here as far as San Francisco is concerned. In Oracle Park, you can see a lot of red going on out there as far as home runs are concerned. So it's always a great ballpark to target pitchers in. He is a 132 favorite. The Cubs have been striking out a lot. But the problem is the Cubs do have quite a few lefties. He's really struggling against lefties, so it's a little scary going there tonight for me. And honestly, once we get down past kind of the top tier of pitchers on the slate today, I'm not really interested in anything. Like, on DraftKings specifically, I think it might be a slate where you're really trying to pay up at pitching and play a Yu Darvish and a Lance Lynn. On FanDuel, just play either one of them. And as far as like a cheap option is concerned, I'm not seeing a lot I like, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, Casey Mize taking on the Chicago White Sox would probably be the one guy that I'm looking to that has, a lot of talent. He's supposed to be a top prospect and really come to life eventually. You got Chris Bieber taking on the Minnesota Twins as well. Those two guys would probably be the ones I'm looking to as flyers, just based on the fact that they have a decent enough K rate to get it done, and the opponent that they're playing has a decent enough K rate for them to actually get there. And maybe a Tyler Anderson taking on the Miami Marlins. They're a team that's been striking out a lot. And maybe a Justice Sheffield taking on the Los Angeles Angels, who have a pretty watered-down lineup right now with some injuries they're dealing with. There's no Trout in there. The bottom of the order, there's a lot of strikeouts, so I can see maybe going to him. But the Angels do have a 4.71 implied run total. And to be honest, I don't really like playing Justice Sheffield. So you kind of get my point. Those are the guys I'd be willing to take risks on based upon strikeout in the matchup and their strikeout upside. But really not getting all too excited about it. So probably sticking to the top tier as far as pitching. That would be my advice on this slate. And with that being said, let's go ahead and transition over to bats. As always, I like to go ahead and sort my sheet by Sierra, scaling our active ERA. It's a good way of determining how good a pitcher's been so far in his career and how good he's expected to be in the future. For those of you that don't know what that statistic means, that's the basic way of kind of explaining it to you. And Seth Frankoff is the worst on the slate, taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Hard contact, he's actually been pretty good, but he's been really struggling in the slugging category. So, not really giving up the most amount of hard contact, but when he does, a lot of those balls are finding their way over the wall, which of course we always like to target in DFS. So, let's see. The Milwaukee Brewers, as far as the Vegas line is concerned, they don't really have one out right now, so that's a little unfortunate. But I definitely think I'm going to have interest in these guys as a stack today. Colton Wong, Daniel Vogelbach, Christian Yelich, Avisail Garcia, Omar Narvaez, Travis Shaw, Willie Adames. Pretty much every hitter in this lineup is very good power-wise. They just strike out a bunch, and they're taking on a guy that strikes out no one. The guy has a 13% K rate, so this could be the most ideal matchup possible for these Milwaukee Brewers bats, and I definitely think they're going to be a great stack tonight, like them. Vladimir Gutierrez taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. This is once again a conflicting report. Gutierrez has only pitched 5 innings on the season. I think he is going to be the one to go. And as far as how he's gone, as far as Leach is concerned, his appearances, you could see that appearance, he went 67 pitches. Only had 3 Ks, but I mean, the guy is taking on the St. Louis Cardinals in St. Louis, which is a pretty good ballpark overall for pitching. So maybe he's a sneaky option that could pay off for you in tournaments. There's a lot of red and yellow going on as far as the outfield in Busch Stadium. Always like to target pitchers in the stadium, and the Cardinals aren't the most scary offense in the world. But as I mentioned, like, is it really necessary to be going down to a guy like that when we can just pay up and pitching on the slate, feel pretty good about it? And then there's probably some bats that we can fit in with salary. I would guess somewhere along the slate between an 8 gamer. I'm guessing I'm not going to want to play him in. And as far as stacking up against him, I'm going to be pretty reliant on the Cardinals' run line. Like, I'm going to be looking at Vegas data, seeing what Vegas thinks in this particular matchup. And if we find that Gutierrez is a guy that we can target, sure. I mean, these numbers don't really mean much of anything, so sorry to ramble there. Kind of just trying to break it down from both sides. Does have a little bit of a longer leash. Could the Cardinals get to him early and get him out of this game? Maybe. Is it the best hitting environment? No. So, I don't know. I kind of got off track there as far as got back on pitching. But hitting-wise, not really sure I'm looking to go there. Zach Davies taking on the San Francisco Giants. This guy is a guy that has been very reverse splitsy. He gives up a lot more hard contact to right-handed hitting than he does left-handed hitting, which makes me not have as much interest in the San Francisco Giants bats as I would, because a lot of the bats that I like on their team are going to be left-handed. And you can make an argument for Zach Davies, I guess, as a cheap pitcher. He doesn't strike anyone out, but I could see him going out there and pitching a pretty good game as far as a real-life performance tonight, going deep into the ball game and getting quite a few outs. So, Brett Anderson taking on, I wouldn't be playing him from a fantasy aspect, but that's kind of the script of the game that I'm predicting. I guess I wouldn't be all too interested in the San Francisco Giants, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. These guys just not looking to go to. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's really good for Brett Anderson. Next guy on the list that I want to talk about, a 447 slugging given up to righties. Slugging against lefties has been very good. He's a left-handed hurler himself. Does give up quite a bit of slugging with the the ground ball, fly ball stuff's really good. So that's where there's a bit of an issue with me when it comes to stacking against him. And the only thing I'd be really looking to do on this Arizona side is probably play some one-offs, guys like Carson Kelly, Ketel Marte, Eduardo Escobar, Christian Walker, Nick Ahmed, Tim LaCastro. They all hit left-handed pitching well. But I'm a little concerned that with the ground ball, fly ball stuff, there's probably not going to be a lot of those balls in the air, out of the ballpark type of deal, and I'm not all too interested. The guy that does give up a lot of fly balls is Tyler Anderson, taking on the Miami Marlins. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's really bad. Gives up a 483 slugging to righties. Good against lefties. He is a left-handed pitcher himself. But against righties, he's really not good. He gives up a ton of slugging, and I definitely think we could target some Miami Marlins right-handed hitters that mash lefties. Starling Marte, Jesus Aguilar, Garrett Cooper, Adam Duvall, Jorge Alfaro, John Birdie. Really going to have most interest in the middle of that order, and guys like Aguilar, Cooper, and Duvall. All traditionally hit left-handed pitching really well. It is in PNC Park in Pittsburgh, which isn't the best hitting environment, but I mean, it could be a low on stack that could pay off for you in tournaments. And if these guys hit the ball 450 feet, it doesn't really matter anyways. So that's kind of what you're going with if you're going to the Miami Marlins. And as mentioned, Anderson gives up the amount of slugging and fly balls and that kind of thing to probably give up some home runs in that ballpark. Justice Sheffield taking on the Los Angeles Angels, another guy that gives up a bunch of hard contact, a bunch of slugging to righties, but he does have a good ground ball fly ball rate. I tend to think that I'm not going to really want to be pitching him, but I don't really think I'm going to be all too interested in stacking against him either. There's definitely some guys in the Angels lineup that I would have interest in some one-offs, most notably Justin Upton. Anthony Rendon would be my favorite in the 3 spot. It just absolutely mashes left-handed pitching. And Max Stassi as a catcher, I think will be a little bit of a sneaky play in the 8 spot. He's really good against lefties as well. So those would be the guys I'm kind of looking to as sneaky plays in their lineup. Chris Bubik taking on the Minnesota Twins. I think that the Twins could be a great stack today. Ground ball fly ball stuff's pretty mediocre for Bubik. He does give a 388 slugging to righties. Ground ball fly ball stuff against those righties is pretty good again, though. So we're dealing with a pretty similar situation, but this Minnesota Twins lineup is a lineup that has guys that can really crush left-handed pitching. So it's a situation where you might be able to deal with the fact that this guy has a good ground ball fly ball, and you might still get away with it, and they might be able to get these balls lifted and out of the park because they have guys like Kyle Garlick, Josh Donaldson, Nelson Cruz, Miguel Sano, Ryan Jeffers. Garlick, Donaldson, Cruz, and Sano are all guys that match lefties specifically. It's about 79 degrees in Kansas City. Not a bad spot to be targeting them, I don't think. Of course, we'd like the ball. We'd like the fly ball rates to be a little bit worse, but the next guy, this is probably one of my favorite guys to target on the slate, is going to be J Happ. He's taking on the Kansas City Royals in the same exact game. His ground ball, fly ball stuff has been terrible. His hard contact stuff has been terrible against righties, similar to Tyler Anderson, who we discussed earlier. And the Kansas City Royals are definitely a team that I'm going to have high on my list today. Whit Merrifield, Carlos Santana, Salvador Perez, Edward Olivares, Hunter Dozier, Kevin Gutierrez, Michael Taylor, Cam Gallagher. I would be willing to play every single righty in this lineup, every switch hitter. J Happ's just a guy I really like to target, so the Royals are definitely in a good spot there. Casey Mize taking on the Chicago White Sox is a very splitsy pitcher. He's really, really struggled against lefties. He's been very good against righties. So these Chicago White Sox aren't the most exciting stack because they do have quite a few right-handed bats. However, they do still have a 4.86 implied run total. If they're able to work the count on Casey Mize and make him throw a lot of pitches and get him out of the game early, the Detroit Tigers bullpen is terrible. So that's kind of what you're looking to as far as this matchup's concerned and why that's appealing. And I wouldn't call you crazy if you stack up the White Sox. Just more interested in the lefties for sure when it comes to them. Guys like Yoan Moncada, Jake Lamb, Zach Collins, Billy Hamilton. As far as the pitcher's concerned, of course they can get him out of the game and get to that bullpen, which I mentioned. But Adam Wainwright and Desclafani are the same in the sense that they really struggle against left-handed hitting. Wainwright taking on the Cincinnati Reds, really just looking to target the lefties. I'd mentioned not the best ballpark, but Jesse Winker, Tyler Naquin, guys that you could be playing in your lineups today. Desclafani, same rule applies to him. The Chicago Cubs have a few lefties. It's in San Francisco, not the best hitting environment, but Jock Peterson, Anthony Rizzo, Ian Happ all have a bunch of power from the left-hand side of the plate. You could play them. Griffin Canning, I mentioned maybe pitching him against Seattle, but he also does have some serious hard contact issues and slugging given up to right-handed hitting. 492 slugging given up to those righties. So the Seattle righties that can really mash. I have no issues with you going to today. Mitch Haniger, Ty France, Tom Murphy. That's pretty much it. And lefties, there's a lot of lefties in this lineup, so that just kind of makes it a bit of a stronger case for Griffin Canning tonight as far as the pitching aspect. So maybe a little bit of a note there for you guys. And then once we get past them, really not interested in anything. If Hernandez does take the bump against Pittsburgh, he really does struggle against the left-handed hitting. But we don't even know if he's going to start, and Pittsburgh's not the best hitting environment, and Pittsburgh's not the best lineup. With that being said, feel free to stack up these lefties if he's the one that's starting for Miami. With all that being said, that is my overall breakdown of this slate today. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Daniel Vogelbach taking on Seth Frankoff. His issues against left-handed hitting really stands out. A 655 slugging, giving up 500 Woba. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's terrible, and only an 11.4 K rate. not going to get the job done against a guy like Vogelbach, who has so much power, and the only way of really getting him out is striking him out. As far as the pitch repertoire for Frankov, has about a 90 to 91 mile-an-hour fastball. Vogelbach features a 211 ISO with a 396 WOBA against that pitch, 42.86% hard contact rate. And the secondary pitch against those lefties, Frankov very reliant on the changeup, and Vogelbach absolutely matches that pitch. A 241 ISO with a 339 WOBA, 35.48% hard contact rate. Love this spot for Daniel Vogelbach. Get him in your lineups because he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Daniel Vogelbach. Get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.